Hey, everybody. Now we know why quilting is a winter sport. Yes, we do. It's been a while since I've been here, and Paul Pribble and everybody else, I have missed you too. I've been at Houston, and a lot of crazy things have been happening, and we will get to what today is about. And today, we met with a woman named Kia who finished a quilt for Uzoma from Nigeria. And we got a video with her and is absolutely fascinating. So I'm thrilled to be here. People ask, how was Houston? And I went for market, right? Because I'm never going to do it all again, never. And I only saw one quilt. Only one quilt, and that was the quilt that we're going to be talking about at the end. It all starts with, what are you going to wear? What am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? Well, they always say at Houston that the fashion starts from the knee down, all right? Or no, ends from the knees down. So you come in comfortable shoes. Well, my daughter-in-law turned me on to this brand, and I can't tell you it is right now. And these were the darndest, cutest shoes, I think, and super, super comfortable. But these shoes, because of the thick sole, I kept catching my toe on things. And I thought, oh, I got to go change these shoes because I'm going to end up hurting myself. So I made it through the day. There was going to be a celebration for Carrie and Nancy. They were getting like a golden scissors award or something. And then I was going to go out to dinner with Cliff and Jennifer and John. I thought I got to get back to the hotel and change my shoes and then go back to the awards, the award thing and all that. So I went back to the hotel. And as I went in, the tip of the toe caught the stairs and I went down. And it's one of those things, it is so embarrassing. I'm sure most of you can relate to this. It is so embarrassing. And all you want to do is just get up and get out of there. So thank God I wasn't on the floor at Market. Oh, so I don't know if anybody saw, I don't know. But I went up into the room and I was fairly shook up. John wasn't with me. And I just thought, okay, I'm not going to go to the thing with Carrie and Nancy. Just pull yourself together before dinner. And I reached over and that's what I was feeling. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So, but that doesn't stop me from going out to dinner because you see, I have bangs. You can kind of cover stuff up. And fortunately, they weren't too short. So we went out to dinner and with Cliff and Jennifer. And one of my favorite things is a seafood tower. So we ordered that. I ate like a little Miss Piggy. I got on the scale when I got home, and it's not a pretty picture. But you can kind of see to the left, the eye is starting to get bad. You can kind of see it. So, okay, I can cover it with makeup, no big deal. I wake up to go potty at 3 a.m, and this is what was going on. Oh my God. Oh God. Okay, no amount of makeup is going to cover that. In fact, I called the team. I said, I can't go on the floor this morning because the last thing I would want is people, what happened? What happened? What happened? No, we're there to make sales, right? So then Monday, we were going to go home anyways on Monday. On Monday, I'm on the airplane and I'm like this, and nobody gave me the secret signal or whatever it is. Are you being abused? I mean, what's going on? Although I don't think that could happen from a punch in the face. That was full body force down on carpet that probably had concrete under it. And I'm getting off the airplane and John's behind me. And the stewardess looks at me and goes, like, I go up and put on my sunglasses. But I wasn't hurt, thank God. I told John that if I start to do anything crazier than normal, get me to the hospital, because if it's a brain injury, you got to get to the hospital. But no, I'm thickest. In fact, I went in for one of my cancer checkups and I showed the doctor. He goes, "Oh, thank God you've got good bones." No, I did not get to see the show because I was planning on going a Sunday afternoon. But one of the things that was really cool with Quilters Select is that we have teamed with Poppie Cotton, and they're new on the scene. Well, not super new, but new on the scene. And their big deal is pink. Their fabrics are adorable. And it's Poppie, okay, cottons. And a couple of things that we came out for them was this. We have the Poppie Cotton mat. One side is you can cut on and stuff like that. And then the other side, and it's a different size. It fits on like one of those tables from Costco. It's the exact right size for that. The other side is meant for crafting. So like if you're doing things that you don't want to screw up your grid mat with, you flip it to the other side and use that. And then for those who love pink, yes, they've got some rulers, our most popular sizes. So we're really delighted to be aligned with Poppie Cotton, Quilter Select, and they are absolutely lovely people. Okay, then, what's this? Okay. Oh, this is what I didn't get to go see it. This got Best of Show. It's from China. And Shen is her name, and I can't remember the last name. She was there. I didn't get to meet her. Of course, Ricky did. Guys, this is like, I'm going to say 18 inches wide by 16 inches tall, and it got BOS, Best of Show. Ricky was a judge, and Ricky and I did that thing for Quilts Inc. where we did all the awards online, and Ricky said it almost brought him to tears, and the other judges were the same thing. The same thing you heard over and over and over is I've never seen a quilt like this in my life. And so I'm praying it goes to Paducah or something like that where I can get my nose up on it. I mean, I was really super, super bummed out about that. Now, it's really important for me to remind you that next year, if you're planning on going to Houston, it has now shifted to the beginning of October. And I kind of had the feeling it might be like that forever and ever. But don't just think, "Oh, I'm going for Halloween," because, you're not, and you'll be at another convention. So if this is something that you go to, make sure that you put it on your calendar appropriately. Then I went to, I was on Facebook. You guys know, I really know I'm into hand stitching. Like, it's crazy. And I saw this, and I thought, this is a gal named Annette did this. And I thought, what an interesting exercise in hand stitching. You take that little itty bitty skinny space. I mean, it's small. And what can you do in each one? So it's like a striped sampler. I'm so glad I stumbled on that. Also, if you've been following the BOM Pick a Petal this year, Barbara has guided you through the whole thing, but embroidery is not her jam. And so she did some embroidery lessons for you. I may show you something a little bit different on Monday, but she said, "Would you want to do the embroidery?" And I'm like, yes. So I've been working on that. And I think this is called the back stitch. People, this is not an easy stitch to do. And I thought, I should do a little lesson on the back stitch. Barbara used 2 strands of spaghetti. That's the thread. I used 1, and I'm having an absolute ball. And I'm just kind of doing my own thing because it was so funny because Barbara sent me stuff. And then she said, just do your own thing. So I'm using some of the motifs that were used, but just putting them here and there. Okay, then this has nothing to do with quilting, but this has only happened to me maybe 4 times in my life. There's always sympathy sales, Paul says. There was, as you all know, Freddy Moran passed, and they had a thing at a quilt shop for her at Bay Quilts. I was thinking ocean, no, bay quilts. And it was lovely. And friends gathered and chatted and this and that. But, well, let me show you just real quickly. In the latter years of her life, maybe the last 10 years, she was 94. She's really into faces. And guys, she just used a glue stick. That's it. And then Jean Impey does the quilting on it. So I had these at my house because we saw Freddy the week before she passed, and we brought them here to sell to you people. She wanted to do that, but the family wanted them back, and it is my understanding there will be quilts for sale. I will keep you posted. What I love about her faces, they are not like mine. She is really dependent on the fabric to give it the big wowza, and she does, right? I mean, how many of you go and buy that fabric? Let's just get straight up about it. Well, yeah, she had it all. She did. So this is the last one. And then I looked at the quilting on it. Again, Jean Impey has done the quilting. And I thought this was interesting, so I got a close-up of it. I love how the straight lines are to the justified left, and then she has done the circles on it. And that is not typically how Jean does Freddy's quilts. So this particular one to me is a real treasure. And I'm so glad I had the brains to snap it, okay? So here's this last weekend has been very emotional. I mean, we've got the election, and either you're thrilled or you're sad and blah, 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 which is why I didn't do last Wednesday. But this last Saturday was Freddy's family gathering for her memorial celebration of life, and her mini group was invited. And so there were 3 speakers. Oh, then they had like a really lovely lunch, nothing fancy, cold cuts, great salad, yum, yum, yum. And my group was there. But anyways, here's the building, the room. It was at the Orinda Country Club that the speaking happened. And first it was Freddie's son. She had 5 boys. He said enough for you to know they were a handful. A handful. And then Jennifer Sampu spoke, fabric designer, married to Todd Hensley, owner of C&T Publishing. And then a granddaughter spoke. I'd say there were 100 people there, and maybe only 25 of them were quilters. The rest were all family. But here's what happened. So if we're looking at the podium and you look at the chandelier, and you guys, I am not into this stuff, okay? This has just happened to me sometimes. If you go to the podium, upper left chandelier, okay? And that's about where I was sitting. And we were kind of far back in the room, about 2/3 back or 3/4. And John starts hitting me. Well, no, he didn't bust my face again. No, I'm kidding. He started pointing, and he was pointing at that chandelier, the one in the upper, closest to the podium, left-hand side. And what happened was, one light started blinking irregularly, and that's when Jennifer was talking. And nobody was looking at it because her speech was so magnificent, it was so riveting. And I'm looking at it, and it would just be random, okay? And then the chandelier started going like this, not like this, which is what you get in an earthquake, because of course that's the first thing you'd think about if you were in California. It started going like this. And I looked at the other chandeliers, nothing. It was that chandelier. And Jennifer was sharing the poignancy of what Freddy meant to her, what she meant to the quilting world. I mean, she gave the son gave the family history. Jennifer gave the quilting history. She was there, guys. She was there. I mentioned earlier. So, okay, when it was over, everybody's running up to Jennifer to say how great and all that. She was 94, right? And so I ran up to Jennifer. I said, Jennifer, I have to tell you something. This is really, you got to hear this. And I told her, and she was, okay. So a couple other quilters saw it. So when it was over, I know I'm yammering, but this story is just something else. When it was over, Todd and Jennifer went out to get a drink, and their bill number was number 94. Jean Wells and her husband John were driving home to Sisters the next day, and they stopped for lunch, and their tag number was 94. So, even though somebody is gone, they are with you. Their peanut shell's gone, but they are with you. And again, this is nothing I seek out. Nothing. I guess on one hand too, it's like, okay, am I surprised? It's Freddy. No, I'm not surprised. Okay, so then the next day, Sunday, one of our beloved quilt shops in the East Bay, Wooden Gates, has closed. Debbie lost her husband about maybe, I think in August it was. It was their plan to close at the end of the year, but it closed. And she's moving to the Midwest to be with her family. She had, and I was so shocked, I was invited to it, the most lovely party for her employees. It was fantastic food, champagne, and Debbie talked for about an hour. And we were all just eating every single word. Her goal was not to make a ton of money, but to break even. And in all this climate, COVID and everything, they did it. They gave very philanthropic quilt shop. So I was honored to be there. She had a couple things left in her store, and she said, come on, everybody, let's go look at the store. And I looked at her, like, I can't go over there. I want to remember it as is. If you live in the area, you know what a glorious store it was. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the work of Uzoma. And what happened was, again, this is the one quilt I saw. I was in the booth. John came over. No, I wasn't in the booth. I don't know where I was. He came over and said, you got to get over here and hear the story of Kia's. And so Uzoma is from Nigeria. And I want to show you some of the work of Uzoma. So this is why are you in here? Uzoma, are you online? That's what John just said. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This man. Pull yourself together, Alex. Pull yourself together. So this is oh, I can't believe this. Hi. Hi. So anyways, this particular quilt is called Damola. I'm probably saying it wrong. John pulled these from, I don't know if it was from the show or not, by the look of the tape, it is. And here is a close-up. I mean, he is a collage artist like nothing else, like nothing else. Look at that face. Look at that face. And then here's another one. This is called Crowned with Care. And then I want to do a close-up of the little girl. I have to tell you that when we were in Nairobi, maybe about 10 years ago with Ricky and Justin, and we were on a safari, when we were in Nairobi, the hair on the women were like sculptures. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Absolutely beautiful. So this particular quilt right here just really speaks to me, because of that. All right, so let's go to the video of where the one quilt I saw in Houston, one, and I think you will enjoy this, all right? It's with Kia. Here we go. Here we go. Hey everybody, we're at Houston International Quilt Market, and I'm here with Kaia Kessler. And you didn't make this quilt. However, I'm going to start this over. Helped make this quilt, and it's kind of an extraordinary story. Okay, I'm going to start it over because I had the overlays on it, and that's dumb. So let's start over. Oh, God. There we go.
Hey, everybody. We're at Houston International Quilt Market, and I'm here with Kaia Kessler. And you didn't make this quilt. However, you helped make this quilt, and it's kind of an extraordinary story. Tell us about it.
Well, this is a collaboration between an artist named Uzoma Samuel and myself. He is from Lagos, Nigeria, and his medium is very cool. It's collage art. So what he does is he takes, it's very cool, it's very sustainable. He takes scraps of fabric from local tailors, local artisans, and local fashion designers, and he glues them to fabric, to other canvas. And recently, in the past few years, he has really been interested in the quilting world, and so now he is trying to have some of his work quilted. And so I was one of the lucky people that was chosen to quilt his art. And
How did that happen?
So I am friends with a woman named Sarah Trail, who yes, Sarah Trail. She is the operator of Social Justice Sewing Academy, who has just an incredible mission of bringing creativity to children and other people, and then they also sponsor artists. And so I had a reception for her at my home, and just that was really cool to just get to sit and meet and talk with her. And then she had brought me some work, and this was one of the items.
So when I came up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, this is amazing. Okay, I would have freaked out if this came to my house and I had to quilt it.
Oh, girl, we had that moment. We did. We had that moment. You know, Uzoma's work is very powerful. It's very interesting. It's very emotional and moving, but it's also very complex. And, you know, not only on the level of like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that I really do justice and enhance this art piece, because there was no direction provided on this whatsoever.
So you got the top, man. You got the top.
I got the top. That's it. And, you know, and honestly, I mean, it had quite the trip from Lagos as well.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, like, we had some repair work to do before we could even get into quilting on it. And so that was a really interesting process as well. You know, Uzoma uses the materials that are available to him. And, you know, so I had to go through and figure out what was going to work, not only for me on my machine and be the right thing to put on the quilt, also finding glues that were going to go with multiple different types of fabric. If you look at the fabric in the quilt, you know, there are cottons, there are wax resist prints, you know, different batiks and things, but there are also, you know, this is almost an upholstery fabric right here. This is a, oh goodness, what is, not tulle, it's like a chiffon almost.
Don't tell anybody.
It's like a chiffon almost.
Well, okay, but this doesn't, that's not that heavy.
No, this over here is a silk. No, but some of these fabrics are layered 4 and 5 layers thick, and every layer has a layer of industrial glue behind it.
Industrial glue.
Industrial glue. So it was a very hard, brittle glue that I was working with and around. And so that added obviously a lot of complexity to this project, just in terms of, you know, protecting my investment in my machine.
Well, okay, what did your machine think about this?
I hated it. I'm not gonna lie. I will say this project did break my machine, and I had to have a repair afterwards. Which, you know, I was a little bummed about that. Not gonna lie. You know, I mean, like, when you're down professionally, that's a bummer. But at the same time, you know, that was a risk that I was fully willing to take on this project. So I understood that, you know, like, hey, like, the second that I saw it, I was like, ooh, this is so complex in so many ways. And I was glad that I really did sit down at the beginning after I got in the project to really plan it out and to take a measured approach to things. You know, having been a quilter for maybe longer than I care to admit.
Say it, sister.
For 18 years. Having been a quilter for 18 years at this point, you know, I am familiar with art quilts and with the industry and with the standards, and, you know, I knew what other artists were going to do on a quilt like this, and I wanted my piece to be very different.
Are there police around here?
No.
Okay. You gotta see the back, people. So I'm gonna let you touch it.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I've already touched it a bunch of times, so here.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah, so this is the back, and as you can see, I really did thread paint all over the back of this quilt, and you know, I was very specific and tactical about how I did this. You know, a lot of my lines really needed to be specifically about securing fabric, you know, because not every bit of each piece of fabric was glued. And so not only, you know, and this is with all quilts, obviously, not only are you trying to secure the quilt and secure the fabric, but you're also trying to put in a design. And most art quilts are quilted with a monofilament, so that it doesn't distract from the art quilt itself. But I felt as if this quilt needed more dimension than that, and I wanted to include, again, because I had free reign with this. Like, it was very much a collaboration as opposed to a hired job. Do you want me to keep with this, or? And so, this quilt was very much a collaboration. It was not a hired job.
So what's going to happen to it?
I'm not sure, honestly. I know that SJSA has possession of the quilt, and I know that they show it for charitable purposes, which is what I was hoping was going to happen. I know that the work will never be sold. It's very important to me, not only to help other artists to further their work, and so I was grateful to get to do that with Uzoma in this capacity, but also to give back, and this quilt can provide services for SJSA, even if
And
they're
say what
just
that means.
SJSA stands for Social Justice Sewing Academy, and they part of their mission is to educate the public on quilts and quilt art. But then also this quilt has served as an eye-catching piece that brings visitors into their shows, and so whereas maybe they might not notice a community quilt as much, once they see something like this, they're drawn in, and then they go and look at the community quilts and realize what a lot of these children are doing, and that's a really special thing. So that was why I participated in
Okay,
this.
question.
Yes.
What's your day job?
Quilting. Now it's quilting. I used to be an attorney. I still am an attorney. But I closed my law practice a few years ago and decided to dive into quilting and art. It's my passion.
Awesome.
And so,
You have a website?
I do. It's coopcreative.com, but you can find me on Instagram. Is definitely the best way to get in touch with me, and my handle is at co.op-creative. So it's co-op creative. So you can see.
Check it out.
Co-op
Check
creative.
it out. Well, thank you for hanging around while I got over here.
Yeah.
John said, you got to get over here. You got to get over here. So thank you.
I'm so grateful, and thank you guys for the opportunity to talk to you.
Continued success.
Yes, thank you.
Isn't she wonderful? The energy. Isn't she wonderful? I know I'm like geeking out on this, but I have to tell you, I am touched beyond measure that Uzoma is here. That's one of the things that I love about the quiltshow.com is that we are able to connect people worldwide. And I'll be honest with you, I've had a hard week with everything. And while this was showing, I almost started crying again. So hold it together, man. Hold it together. Okay. So yes, it was wonderful, Uzoma. It was wonderful. All right. So I kind of now, okay, going from something so special and magnificent, I got to tell you what's going on the site right now. All right. I got to tell you. Okay. First of all, on Saturdays, Dee is teaching Star Bright, and the kits are long gone, but the downloadable pattern is there. And so she is walking us through that. I happen to be very fond of this quilt, to tell you the truth. And then I want to talk about the quilt behind me, Laurel Ridge, all right? This is our block of the month for next year, 2025, by Lynn Wilder. And the kit sold out 48 hours. It's never happened, ever. Well, maybe Color My World was too. But anyway, just boom. Okay, so the good news is that there's more fabric available. So we are going to get 100 more kits when probably... my guess would be it could be in your hands mid-December. Now, this is, that there's not a dock strike or this or that, but the fabric is in, it's going to the cutter, etc. So if you're interested, you'll go on the website and there's like a wish list, put your name on there and we will contact you. And don't rest on your laurels. Don't rest on your laurels. But we also have, this is the grandmother quilt. We have the granddaughter quilt. And honestly, the picture of it is not wonderful on the website because it was digitally put together. This is an absolutely glorious grouping of fabrics that would make another spectacular version of it. Again, if you go to the website to buy it, it's like, oh, I don't know. And Lynn is actually making it right now, the granddaughter version, and so is Barbara Black. All right. And of course, we'll have monthly lessons from Lynn, and she's going to tell the story. There's a whole story she's written about the whole thing, and it's wonderful. Last but not least, this pattern is a pattern that I probably made about 25 years ago, if not 30, and it was first published in Margaret Peters' book. It was not, this has been a remake like the third or fourth time. And the pattern was sold out, gone. It was with JWD Publishing. And with their permission, we have been able to put it into a digital download. It's not quite up yet, quite right. We're just fine tuning it to make sure everything is okay. We'll let you know in the newsletter when it's up, and that is up for purchase. Now, what I'm going to do is, we were talking about this in our Tuesday morning meeting, and Mary Kay said, why didn't you foundation paper piece those trees? And I said, well, isn't that the $1 million question? Because at that point, I didn't do that. I'm going to do a lesson on how to take that tree and take it from a template or rotary cut based block into foundation paper piecing, and I'll show you how to prepare the pattern and all that. So there's that. Okay, so what's coming up? Lilo and Justin got a bunch of really great interviews at Houston, just like this whole one we just did. If you couldn't be there, don't worry, because you'll be able to see some of the really great things that were there, okay? Just like me for the first time. And so make sure you are signed up for our newsletter. It's free. It is our conduit to you to let you know what's going on. So please do just go to thequiltshow.com, join the newsletter. If you haven't done that already, I wouldn't. And remember, I would do it. And remember, if you become a paid member or win or renew, you get a 25% discount that you can use in the store for that one time. We are getting ready for Black Friday. Everybody in the world is. I am so happy to be back. This feels so normal and so good. And I want to thank you for spending your time with me and with us. We are, like I said, our little world guild, and just the fact that Uzoma is here today just stamps that like a rubber stamp. So, okay, if you want, send pictures or ask for the Bernina coupon at alexandrsn@gmail. Thank you for watching. Thank you.